On a small island in southern Japan, there is a village where grandmothers well over 100 years old still wake up at 5 a.m. They walk to the small market at the edge of the village, sit down by their vegetable stalls, and begin a new day, exactly as they have done for the past 70 years. It's not because they need the money. Their children and grandchildren have been more than capable of supporting them for a long time. When asked why she still goes to the market every morning despite her advanced age, one grandmother replied simply, "If I don't go, I won't know what I woke up for." That answer contains a concept the Japanese call Ikigai, and it is being seriously misunderstood across social media. Welcome back to the channel. Ikigai has been one of the most talked about Japanese words in the self-development world for nearly a decade, but almost every version you've ever read only tells half the truth. In the next 10 minutes, we will look for the other half, directly from the very people who have lived with it their whole lives. The word Ikigai is made up of two parts, Iki meaning life, and Kai, modified into Gai, meaning value or worth. Put together, it is often translated as a reason to live, or more intimately, that which makes life worth waking up for every morning. This concept wasn't born from a book or a TED Talk. It has existed in the daily lives of Japanese people for hundreds of years, particularly vivid in Okinawa, a chain of islands in the far south of Japan, where the warm climate and slow pace of life have nurtured one of the longest living communities on the planet. In the early 2000s, American researcher Dan Buettner included Okinawa in his list of blue zones, rare places in the world with an unusually high percentage of centenarians. And in field interviews, Ikigai consistently appeared as a common thread running through the stories of almost every elderly person he met. But the story took a detour in 2014, when a British blogger named Mark Wynne published a four-circle Venn diagram, naming it Ikigai to illustrate a completely different concept: how to find an ideal career in modern Western life. That diagram went viral. It was neat, logical, easy to apply, and most importantly, it promised a clear formula for what so many young people crave, a definitive answer to the question, what should I do with my life? According to this diagram, your Ikigai lies at the intersection of four circles: what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. It sounds perfectly reasonable, almost like a mathematical equation for happiness. It became the guiding light for countless self-development workshops, a string of best-selling books, and millions of inspirational posts. People started using it as an exercise: write 4 lists, find the intersection, and then follow that career path. But the harder they tried to find it, the more elusive that intersection becomes. Because how many people are simultaneously passionate about something, good at it, needed by society, and well paid, all at the same time, in the exact same job? For most of us, those 4 circles almost never fully overlap. And here is the strange thing: if you search through the entire original Japanese literature on Ikigai, books, interviews, anthropological studies, there was no 4-circle diagram in existence before 2014. In other words, the concept that millions of people are trying to solve like a career math problem is actually a Western creation, branded as Japanese to add a touch of mystique and credibility. So the real question worth asking is, if not that 4-circle diagram, what is it that actually makes those Okinawan elders believe their lives are worth continuing, day after day, for an entire century? Anthropologist Gordon Matthews of the University of Hong Kong spent years living with and interviewing hundreds of Japanese people of various ages and backgrounds to find the true answer. The results of his research, later published as a book, overturned almost everything the West thought it understood about Ikigai. Not a single interviewee mentioned finding the perfect career intersection. Instead, they spoke of things so small they seemed almost trivial: a morning cup of tea with a neighbor, the laughter of a young grandchild, a small vegetable garden in the backyard. One elderly woman in the study said her Ikigai was simply waking up early every day to cook breakfast for her husband. Even though he had passed away years ago, she kept the habit, seeing it as a way to feel fully alive within their shared memory. What Matthews realized was this: the Japanese Ikigai is rarely one big, singular thing. It is usually a collection of many small reasons, layered and interwoven between work, family, habits, and even the seemingly most mundane things in a day. This is also why when a Japanese person retires, the rate at which they feel disoriented, or even experience rapid health decline, is remarkably high, not because of lost income, but because of losing those small daily rhythms that once nourished their sense of being needed. Meanwhile, in villages like Ajamai, people have almost no concept of retirement in the traditional sense. Residents continue to do small jobs, farming, weaving, trading, not because they have to, but because that work is one of the very reasons they get out of bed each morning. In other words, the secret to Okinawa's longevity has never been that they found the perfect passion of their lives. It lies in the fact that they never let themselves live a single day without even just one small reason to look forward to. And this is exactly what the Western translation lost when it turned Ikigai into a career hunting diagram. The original Ikigai doesn't ask you that grand and somewhat terrifying question, what were you born to do? It asks a much smaller, much gentler question, and therefore, one that is much easier to answer. What is it, no matter how small, that makes your tomorrow morning worth waking up for? The answer doesn't need to be grand, it doesn't need to change the world, and it doesn't need to appear on a resume. It could be the ring of a familiar person's phone call, the smell of morning coffee, or simply the early morning sunlight on the balcony. And precisely because it is small, it is more sustainable than any grand passion. Passions can fade, careers can collapse. You don't need to go looking for your Ikigai in some far-off place. Quite possibly, it is already right here, in the things you still do every day without ever realizing their true value. Instead, they write just a single line, what makes me want to wake up tomorrow morning? Perhaps your answer is just as simple, a conversation, a small routine, a friend waiting for a text message. Ikigai doesn't demand that you become someone greater. It only needs you to recognize what is quietly holding you here to this life. So take a moment right now. What small thing is making you want to wake up tomorrow morning? Write it down in the comments. You might just surprise yourself when you read your own answer back. Thank you for watching till the end. See you next time.